You're listening to the AfterBuzz TV Network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Keith Johnson.
From the AfterBuzz Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com, and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, this is AfterBuzz TV's Pretty Little Liars After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. If you'd like to buzz in on tonight's show, you can buzz us at 424-256-1729. That's 424-256-1729. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AfterBuzz TV's Pretty Little Liars After Show.
Yes. Drama tonight on the show. Bing is for doing, and we're here doing another Pretty Little Liars After Show. I'm Stephanie Wenger.
And I'm Whitney Lane. We're glad to be back. We're missing Kelly tonight, so we're sad that she'll be back next week.
Definitely sad to have her missing it, but there's so much drama to talk about that we'll definitely jump right into that. Starting with Spencer, still off the rails from her breakup.
Well, we got to tell them what it's called because we know why. We're in Season 3, Episode 19, What Becomes of the Brokenhearted? And we know Spencer is super brokenhearted.
Yes.
So you can just see the girl, bless her heart, has just like let herself go.
Right.
She's not even trying to take care of herself. She's ignoring all of her friends. That is not the way to get through this. She needs those people behind her, but she's completely going against everything. I mean, she's not even a part of the decathlon anymore, which is huge for her. She's the Miss Academic girl, you know? She's skipping school. She's not going to be in this group anymore. Like,
yeah,
what?
I mean, I've never seen a breakup affect someone so dramatically. And there's obviously reasons why for her, because this guy was like her first love and, you know,
Ultimate betrayal, though. This was like ultimate betrayal.
Ultimate betrayal. But she definitely is taking it hard and kind of has made a 180-degree turn from where she was, exactly what you're saying, the academic, had it all together girl, and kind of the backbone of her group. And now she's they're always surprised when they see her at something. They're like, oh, you actually showed up.
Right. And the thing about it is, like, Spencer, she still kind of wants to hold on to some of that old Spencer. Like, she doesn't want to just give up that easily on not being a part of the decathlon team.
But how she does it is very un-Spencer.
I was very surprised with that. But Mona, of course, is the one that's kind of manipulating the whole situation, making sure that they're voting Spencer to be out of this. Since she's team captain, she doesn't think Spencer's stable enough. It's like, Mona, you're causing this, and you know it. Like, it makes me so mad at her. Like, I really dislike Mona's character, but what you gonna do? They gotta have someone on the A-team kind of ruining their lives.
Well, I mean, this show is all about stirring the pot, and there's always someone who's stirring the pot in their world and turning everything upside down. And right now, I think, well, there's obviously a team of them, but Mona was at the forefront of tonight's episode for sure.
Right, and so basically, Spencer is upset with Andrew. That's the guy's name, who I think is very cute. He's only been in a couple episodes, but you know, the geeky, smart guy.
Yeah.
But she invites him, I guess he stops by Spencer's house to kind of apologize about what happened because he was the swing vote, causing her to end up not getting to be on the team. Yet Spencer's like, you know what, I can't win him over with my academic intelligence, so she went for some strip decathlon playing game. It was very weird.
I know, and it was very, as we say every week, very un-ABC family.
Well, a lot of things today that I was surprised about. But, I mean, she was saying question for question, if you miss one, you have to take off a piece of clothing. And it's this guy who I'm like, really? I don't know about this. You know, they seem kind of, you know, they're the smart ones. They're the ones that are focused on other things. But I guess he's a guy because he sure did just kind of jump on in.
Yeah, you never know. It seems like sometimes it's the people you would least expect who would jump right into it. And you're right, he is a guy. I think it's hard to be like, beautiful girl, not going to do this. But he was the one who stripped down mostly. She was smart about it.
Well, because she's the smart one and obviously answered most of the questions correctly. Because by the end of it, he's sitting there in his underwear. Spencer had only taken off her bra underneath her shirt before Emily stops in. And Andrew kind of flipped out like, oh my gosh, that's Emily Fields. You know, like I'm half naked here.
I loved that she's like, oh, she wouldn't be interested in you, like in like
Right.
in you, I think it
Well,
was.
we know because Emily likes the girls.
right.
She does not like Andrew.
No.
But it kind of backfired on Spencer because nothing really changed. They didn't get to finish the game. He wasn't really going to put her back on the team.
And Spencer really wouldn't take no for an answer tonight. And she gets a visit from Ren because we find out that Mona, in fact, sent Ren, allegedly, to see Spencer.
To check on Spencer because she's worried about her and she sees when someone's kind of like losing their cool. It's like, come on.
Yeah, that really made me question it. Did you think that that was actually who sent?
Oh, yeah, I wouldn't doubt that for a second, but it's her manipulating the situation and pretending like, I'm just looking out for someone I actually care, when really it's her way to get back at Spencer even more.
See, I feel like it could have been Mona. That's a possibility. I just felt like there's probably somebody else in that mix who...
Really? I mean, I feel like, wow, that had to be the only one. Because she went in there, and when she talked to Mona at the decathlon, she was like, she talked about how Ren came by and how Ren was with her, and Mona's like, I just was worried about you. I wanted to...
I mean, yeah.
So she admitted to talking to him about it.
That's true. I don't know. I just kind of I guess I question her always, is the bottom line of it. Like, what's her motivation? Why did she do it? Or did she, like kind of the larger picture. You never can see these larger pictures.
Right. Well, I was surprised to see Melissa this episode because we've seen her in flashbacks, but now this was her kind of like in real form back. And, and then Ren stops by and it's like Melissa's old fiance or old boyfriend. How awkward can it get? Because he's here to talk to Spencer. He had no idea Melissa was going to be there.
And Spencer was like, oh, let's go hang out. And you're just like, where's this going?
It was smart, I think, because she knew exactly what she was doing. He is excited to go on a date with her. That's what he thinks it kind of is, because he has always liked Spencer. And they end up driving miles and miles to end up where the decathlon's supposed to take place the next day.
Right.
And she approaches Mona. I mean, she knew what she was doing. Spencer's smart, even if she's kind of lost herself right now. She's still manipulating the situation as much as she can for her benefit.
Yeah, and I mean, she wanted to be in that room and confront Mona. That was clear, and it got physical, too. It was not just a, like, oh, I wanted to do it for you and to make sure you're okay. They argued, and it was on the ground.
Hashtag Spencer snapped.
I know. How good are the ABC Family hashtags?
It's great with social media and things like that. I mean, literally, like, what a great hashtag, because that's exactly what happened. Spencer jumped across the table going for Mona. Like, she had no qualms about it. She was about to beat the girl up until she got stopped.
Absolutely.
You guys, tell us what you think about Spencer's attacking Mona. Head to iTunes and rate and comment our show. We love to hear from you. All your comments, we definitely read them, and we'll get back to you with what you think as well. So head to iTunes and rate for Pretty Little Liars.
So much fun. Yeah, we love reading your comments and your theories on the show, because we watch the show, as we always say, and then come right in here. So it's always fun to kind of be like, oh, we didn't think about that. That's such a good idea. So
exactly. And predictions that are so good that I don't even think about. So let us know what y'all think this time.
Definitely. And should we talk about a little bit of Caleb and Hanna drama this week with his uncle?
Uncle Jamie.
I know. That's how I wrote it in my notes too. Uncle. Uncle Jamie is kind of on the scene, and Hanna knows that he is in fact Caleb's father. And
she's so smart. See, they have gotten, even though this A-team crap has been awful for them, the girls are smart, and they are detectives now, and they can figure out the smallest little details, which she did.
Yeah, and I mean, it was all kind of putting those puzzle pieces together. She figures out that he is Caleb's father, and she wants them to have a relationship. Obviously, it's extremely severed at this point, and so she goes back to his farm, right? And asks, she makes up some excuse about going to a farmer's market, which is so sad, and just,
He's like, I know you didn't drive 2 hours for a farmer's market, but at least she's trying. Yes. She's trying to cover it up.
Exactly. And she says, like, I know that you're his father, and, like, you haven't always been there, and he admits that he had done time, and he hasn't been the best role model or father figure for Caleb throughout his childhood, but it's clear that he wants a relationship with him at this point.
No, it is. And I think it just speaks to Hannah's character as well. Like, it makes me like her so much more when she's looking out for other people than just herself, because they kind of used to peg her as kind of like the selfish one of the group. And she really cares a lot about Caleb and knows, even if he doesn't say that he wants a relationship with his Uncle Jamie, he really does.
Yeah, and also they are getting to be a stronger couple. For a long time, you kind of weren't sure if they were going to be on the rocks or whatever, and in this episode, we saw them be a much stronger united front.
No, yeah, I'm definitely rooting for that couple more than the rest at this point. They seem to like really care about each other. I mean, either Caleb's looking out for Hanna when it comes to A, or Hannah's looking out for Caleb when it comes to his dad. And, you know, she really cares, and her mom sees that too, Ashley.
Mm-hmm.
She was like, you know, I really want Caleb's dad. Like, they're getting along now, because he ended up showing up at the coffee shop, which I was like, I caught it when we were watching. I was like, I don't think he's going to show up. He comes so super late, but at least like he came
minutes from them leaving. Yeah, she was getting, you know, a to-go box. They were on their way out the door, and he shows up, and they reunite. And I hope that relationship, or the relationship between the father and son kind of can grow and be a positive thing. I don't know if it's going to be, because he seems to have some issues.
Right, which I liked, though. I do like that Hanna eventually left so they could talk, and she's telling her mom, like, you know, Pastor Tim, it's Pastor Tim, or is it Pastor Ted? Ted, Pastor Ted. Yeah. One of those T's, you guys. See, you got to help us out. Yeah. Pastor Ted, she's saying that they're redoing parts of the church, and why not ask Caleb's dad to do it, because he's really great at building things from scratch. And so he kind of gets a little chance, you know, and they're sitting there and they're working it out. And you see Hanna, they're sitting in the church, Caleb and Hanna kissing, which I thought was just hilarious, as Ashley walks in and says, pizza and beer?
Yeah, and you were just like, so un-ABC Family, and then she's like, beer for us, pizza.
Although that's not the case for most of the other liars.
But we'll get into that.
We will. But yeah, and so she puts, I think it's like Hannah's belief in like good things happening, and she puts some money into the offering, and it's a $5 bill with some dice on it. And we were like, why? We thought there was some clue that we had missed as to what the dice were, and then we realized later on in the episode that in fact these dice, he's taking out money, Caleb's uncle, to pay, Caleb's dad.
You can see that this is going to be a transition for us. So Caleb's dad takes out money to pay for pizza, and you see the $5 with that distinctive dice on it, and you realize he must have taken.
Yeah, so you question that a little bit, and so Hanna sees that, and she's thinking, oh no, did I do the wrong thing, you know, bringing him back if he's not kind of like a truthful person. He's not necessarily a man of integrity, obviously, because he left his son, pretended he was his uncle. You know, there's so many things, and I think it's just going to take a lot of time to build that trust. But if you can't trust him in the first place because he's stealing money or doing whatever, it's going to be a long road ahead.
Took the words right out of my mouth. Yeah, I think that it's going to be interesting to see. I don't think it's going to even be a one-season arc of this. I think it's going to take real time to get to kind of forge that relationship.
If at all. That's what I wonder about Jamie in this.
I hope he doesn't walk out. That's just my personal.
He's already walked out, so he's kind of unstable anyway. So I think we'll see what happens with his character and Caleb and the father-son relationship.
And also, I have a question. Do you think that Hannah's mom and Caleb's dad, was there any connection there?
Well, that's what I mentioned, because I was like, always, Ashley seems to be like, you know,
every guy
into some different men. But no, I don't. I mean, I thought for a second, but, you know, I think she's into Pastor Ted right now, which is probably a good relationship for her as well.
Yeah, I mean,
if they're still going strong. We haven't seen much from them, so I guess that'll probably come back as well.
We were just talking about that Caleb and Hanna have a solid relationship, and I hope for her that her relationship with Pastor Ted also becomes one of those solid relationships that she can depend on, because almost all the other adults are having major issues in their relationships.
Everybody's having major issues on this show all together.
Drama, drama, drama as we started out.
The best part of Pretty Little Liars.
So crazy. Speaking of drama, can Aria not decide on which fits to be with?
I love that. The hashtag, what was it, wrong fits or something like that?
Wrong fits.
Oh, no.
So we see her get a phone call at the beginning of the episode from Ezra and Wes's mother,
Diane, right?
Diane, and asking about, was she at the apartment and what's going on there? And
was Wes at the apartment, kind of? She couldn't find her younger son. Was he there?
Yeah, and Aria says the truth and says, yeah, he's there. Like,
no, I thought she told him no. She said, I haven't been at the apartment. Why would Wes be hiding out over there?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's kind of what she said. She was like, I haven't been there, even though that's a lie, because she has. She's been hanging out with Wes, and she's like, I haven't seen Wes. Why would he be hiding out in Ezra's apartment?
Okay.
And so apparently it was a test, because Aria goes by to see Wes afterwards. He's packing up all his stuff, and he was like, yeah, my mom already found me at 7 a.m. this morning. And she's like, then why would she call? Come to find out, Diane's testing Aria and is like, I guess now she can go off and tell Ezra that you're a liar because you have known that I've been here.
Right.
Kind of backfired, which is just so sneaky of Diane. Like,
Well,
doesn't she want her sons to be happy?
She doesn't seem to care. She
No,
wants
it's sad.
social status and things that are less, but she doesn't care about their happiness. That's the bottom line for her.
Yeah, well, I don't know. She just wants to dictate their lives, and jumping into that and kind of making Aria feel manipulated. That's kind of messed up, I think. But you do see Aria taking a liking to Wes, and I don't know that it's necessarily romantic. I think that she likes to be around someone that probably reminds her a little bit of Ezra, and it's a guy that Ezra's gone, who's she going to hang out with kind of thing.
I think she also relates to him age-wise in a different way than she relates to Ezra, because he is her age. They can talk about books and projects they're doing and things like that, where Ezra is, focused on job hunting and just totally in a different place in his life. And now the fatherhood card, which they kind of say, oh, he's off watching soccer games, and just like a completely different life than Aria has in high school, obviously.
Right. Yeah, and so, she kind of takes him under her wing a little bit, like, where are you going to go? You can't go sleep in your car. They go to help CeCe out, which we'll get to that girl in a second. Yeah. But, she basically, at the end of, helping CeCe with her store or whatever, invites Wes to stay at her house because she doesn't want him sleeping in its car and getting cold and not having a place to stay.
Yeah.
And, ooh.
I know. So they're at this photo shoot, I guess you can say, and he's trying to help her, and they're drinking wine, which, as we said, not ABC family
They're
appropriate.
in high school. I don't get it. It's not like you go drink wine, get in a car, and drive home. Come on, people. You're 17. 16, 17.
Exactly. Crazy. And just drinking this wine, and he spills the wine as he's lifting lights, and it spills all over this perfect white carpet and red wine everywhere, and they are trying to think of a way to cover it up. And
just what CeCe gets, though.
Yeah, and CeCe calls them because she was picking up dinner, supposedly. Supposedly. I can't say it enough. And it says my car got towed, as we see her sitting in her car. I won't be back. It's going to take her a while, and she said she was drinking a little, and it's just a very strange, really a weird lie, in all honesty.
Well, and you wonder what she's doing when she's actually supposed to have her car being towed.
Right.
Obviously the girl's sneaky, but, at least kind of Aria and West to fend for themselves, go home, and he kind of goes in for the kill there.
Oh, yeah. He totally takes up her offer to stay at her place, at her parents' place, rather. And
yeah, where are her parents when this is happening? Another question.
So many questions tonight, but he does kind of go in for it, and they kiss.
She pulls back quickly, though. Aria does not kiss. It doesn't look like she kisses back to me. She really pulls back super quickly. It's we can't do this.
Yeah.
And he's like, you're right. And you kind of wonder, because we've talked about it before, has he always been kind of using this to get in with Aria? It's always seemed like he's had that in the back of his mind.
Okay, this is another question. Do you think that when he exits and goes back downstairs or what have you, and she kind of leans against the door, and for a minute there I kind of thought she might be a little liking him back, realizes it's wrong, but...
I wouldn't doubt it. But I don't know. It could be so many different reasons, because it's Ezra's gone. Why is he not there anymore? What's going to happen? I think she has so many questions in her mind. This just adds on to the pile.
Also, she's extremely jealous of Maggie. She was like, oh, he's, with... watching soccer with Maggie, and it that seemed to be key to her.
Well, regardless, they're going to have that connection, because first loves, they have a child together. She's going to have to find a way to be okay with that if the relationship's actually going to last.
And I don't know that in high school anyone, including Aria, is capable of that, of being okay with somebody who has a child, has the first love. That's a lot of baggage for high school. It's supposed to be your first relationship. It's her big first relationship. So I think it'll be interesting to see how that plays out on the show.
Oh, man.
So much.
I know. It's just crazy to me, though, you know, the whole Aria West thing. We'll see how that unfolds. And if she proceeds to tell Ezra or not, that'll be a big question.
Also, CeCe, we kind of see how CeCe, there's more flashbacks with CeCe, and kind of, we'll talk about it a little bit with Jason and Emily as well, but she definitely is not, as we were saying, as like straight.
I have pegged this from the first time. I was like, there's more to this girl. She's in on this somehow. Because you do see, you know, Emily goes up to ask her. She talks about Detective Wilden. She's like, do you know him? She's like, oh, no, there were so many guys there. I never met him. Liar. Like,
Yeah.
she knew. Lies about why that her car got towed. So obviously that she's doing something else, and it makes you really skeptical of her.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, she's not, I just wonder what her relationship is to the girls and why she's kind of in the picture in the way that she is. It's definitely, she's trying to be another, as we were saying earlier, pot stirrer. Like, she has all these things that she knows about these girls. Like, I think I turned to you at one point in the episode and said, how does she know that Aria's dating Ezra? Like,
she knows everything, though, and that's why, you know, I think she could pretend that Allie told her all these things, or she found out somehow. She somehow has an inside connection, and that's why I'm so skeptical of her, because she knows way too much and cares way too much about these girls whom she's not friends with.
yeah, and she definitely, her and Allie, I can't decide if they were frenemies, what was going on with them.
Had to be something more.
Yeah, there's definitely, and these little flashbacks never give me enough information.
Well, let's talk about Jason and Emily, because that was a big part of CeCe, like, kind of unraveling.
Absolutely. So Jason and Emily, this is an interesting, we haven't really seen them hang out too much in the past.
You know, Emily's kind of becoming the new Spencer in a way. She's the one kind of going after and making sure to watch over everybody and kind of dig deeper, which is usually Spencer's role. And so Emily, you know, she first talks to CeCe, who lies. So that's when she goes to Jason.
Right.
And she's like, I think something's going on with Detective Wilden. Could that have been the guy? Was he dating Allie? He had a picture at the police office.
Yes, and then they find another picture, which is...
Well, they go to this house, his dad's old rundown house, and they find bottles upon bottles of alcohol, of
creepy.
whiskey,
Yeah,
sitting
so
outside,
creepy.
because obviously Jason used to be an alcoholic. Whoever knows him, whoever's doing this, knows kind of his weaknesses. So he starts to pour it out, and then they get like a text from A, like, he better save a couple bottles. And you're like, who's standing around here? It's really crazy.
And there's actually a camera shot when they're getting out of the car, and it's from like the trees, it almost looks like, and it's shooting down, and it just made me think, like, who's up in the trees watching them?
Someone on the A-team for sure.
Yeah.
And so they walk inside, and he's like, here are all the boxes. I know there's something that Allie made our dad. Let's try to find it. And so that's what it was, kind of like a montage of pictures from that summer. And you see Allie with Detective Wilden's hand over her, and also CeCe.
Yeah, and it's on Wilton's boat, which is...
I mean, obviously, Detective Wilden has always creeped me out. He's been invested in this case for way too long, far too long, especially if he's not invested somehow. You know what I mean? If he isn't some sort of component.
Well, absolutely, and it's just also that the picture disappearing, I was a little more on the fence about whether he was involved or not, and then in the last few weeks, obviously it's become clear that he's super invested in this and has stake in it too. It's not just about, like, I want a solution for these girls. He has his own issues.
And he knows so much more than we could ever guess, especially if, you know, Allie was actually pregnant. I'm sure he knows more about that, but he definitely knew CeCe, and so that's the whole issue there. It's like, now you're starting to realize who not to trust. That's what kills me sometimes about Emily, is like, she's going towards CeCe, she's going to Jason about all these problems and all these situations, giving them more information as to what the girls know, that I think they really have got to, I don't know, I think you're telling them too much. Keep it amongst yourselves, talk about it and figure it out, because when you go and tell CeCe this or tell Jason this, you find out they're lying. Like, you don't know who to trust and who not to trust.
No, it's true.
It makes it a little bit harder when they know what you know.
Yeah, I mean, when you can't have a secret, that's obviously going to change everything.
Exactly.
So, I don't know. I thought that it was interesting also. So they go and are in this elevator.
Yeah, I don't even know how they get to this elevator. They were about to leave, but where were they? That was where the boxes were. It was like a storage area or something.
Yeah, like an office, I think, space.
It's like, of course, you can't go an entire episode without something going wrong.
Right. I mean, it would not be.
Or someone in danger. It's always someone in danger.
Wouldn't be Pretty Little Liars without it. But they're getting this elevator, and you just know as soon as they hop in the elevator that this thing is not going to end well for them.
I already thought it was creepy, though, just in general, because they walk into, like, this dark area, and it's like, Jason, I don't know what I believe.
I think we both yelled, like, turn on the lights.
Right.
Like, our immediate reaction is lock the doors, turn on the lights. Like, these girls, you know someone's after you. Like, be safe.
Plus, after Jason already told about a flashback that he had, remember he was really drunk, kind of stumbling over, and he looks up and he's like, Allie. It's not Allie, it's CeCe talking to Melissa.
Right.
So there's another kind of like clue as to who's amongst this group that someone, and he says someone's after me, you know?
Yeah, and he kind of doesn't, he says that he doesn't admit it to the police because he doesn't want to be considered a suspect. If he was asleep, he's not a suspect. And two is that he doesn't know if
he really saw
it because he was so drunk. And that's another interesting kind of.
But it did look like Allie from behind, you know, but then you find out it's CeCe. So who knows what her motive is with Allie?
Yeah.
What CeCe's motive is, but there's definitely something. But anyways, they get on the elevator and of course it gets stuck and it stops and the lights are going in and out.
And Jason's able to push it open, which was...
I don't even know how that worked. And he's like, jump, Emily, jump. And I'm thinking, girlfriend, I'm scared for your life. Like, what if he decides to push you and you fall all the way down?
Yeah.
Like, you never know. Like, I don't know why she's just so trusting to be like, okay, I guess I'll try. And I mean, she was scared, obviously, but...
Yeah, she went for the jump. And this is one of those scenarios where I was just like, oh, so dumb. But on the flip side, the logical side of myself also said she's a lead character on this program and she is not going to die tonight. Like,
but you just wonder who's setting her up or who also is in play there.
Yeah,
because then the elevator shuts super quickly and Jason falls to the ground in the elevator.
Yeah, and Jason, so he ends up in the hospital with a big neck brace on. And
well, luckily he lived, right?
He lived. He ends up in the hospital. He's with this neck brace on. And she's giving him water, and she texts all the girls, SOS, help me, help me.
Right. And then that's when he talks about that group, the NAT group, right?
Right.
And that's when he's like, someone's after me. Like, I know someone, like, is trying to get me. That's what that group's about, kind of thing.
Right. And so the girls actually show up at the hospital. How they knew where to go, we'll never know. But
just said SOS. What are they saying?
Yes. So they do show up at the hospital, though. And Emily goes out to talk to them, and the nurse runs out and says, where's your friend? And she was like, what are you talking about? He, whatever. And she was like, the guy in bed 3, I think it was, he's gone. And they go in, and it's just a neck brace.
And you're like, how in the world, if you have like IVs hooked up to you, a neck brace, you just fell from no.
Maybe I've become skeptical of everything, and please tweet me if you disagree with this. I wondered if he actually was as injured as...
Well, no, because I think he planned the whole thing.
Yeah.
I'll get to that in predictions, but they were also surprised that Spencer showed up, and she was visibly concerned about her stepbrother.
Yeah.
She's like, I'll go get the water, and they're talking about what happened, and, and then he's gone.
I wonder if it's going to snap her out of her kind of funk. I don't know, but because it's going to give her something to, like, why did he do this? Where is he? All of these questions, and kind of give her something else to focus on other than her breakup.
Yeah, well, I think we saw kind of in the previews for next week, she kind of might open up to the other girls about what she knows about Toby.
Exactly, and I hope she does. I hope that's where it goes. Look like it's a possibility for next week. We'll talk about it in predictions.
And we've always said, the girls are stronger together than they are apart. And so they need to pull Spencer back in and really work together to figure out ways to stay safe and figure out who is on the A team.
Yeah, and they've had so many secrets from each other this season, and I feel like that's why they haven't been as good at solving all of this stuff this year as we've seen kind of in the past, because they're growing apart a little bit. And so I'm hoping that in the next few episodes we'll see them get back together and work as a team, because then they have a bigger chance of figuring out all these puzzle pieces, because they all know individual pieces of the puzzle, and if they put them all together,
and they need to stay together, because they'll be strong in that way. And we saw the creepy ending that it was with the 4 whiskey bottles and their faces taped to each one, and there were 2 people There are two people there dressed in their black gloves and the black jackets, and they took the Spencer bottle and started pouring it. So obviously they think they're getting to Spencer. Something's happening there. So when the girls kind of join together, hopefully they can protect each other.
Did you notice how when they spun the bottle, it initially went to Aria? Like if you're playing Spin the Bottle, it went to Aria and they moved it
To Spencer.
So that was interesting too. Like, I don't know what that means, but
Obviously we know they're after all four girls. It's just in what different ways.
I know I've had some people tweeting at me that they think one of the girls is involved on the A team. And so that made me think, well, if they moved it from Aria, maybe it's Aria. Conspiracy theory. I don't know.
Well, if it was anyone, I know Kelly and I have in the past been like, it's got to be Spencer. She's the one. She's the smart one. But I don't know. I don't believe it right now. It could change.
It's not. Yeah, exactly. I'm not ready to fully predict that, but it is an interesting thing. So keep tweeting at both of us because we love those theories. But what we also love are our AfterBuzz merchandise. The cutest mugs ever here, and you can also get baby onesies and T-shirts.
So cute.
And we also have mugs with little spoons, and they're my personal favorite. So definitely check that out at AfterBuzzTV.com. And you can also check out the new trailer for Serial Buddies. This is a new movie from Maria Menounos and Kevin Undergaro, and it's just the best movie. I've heard great things. I haven't actually seen it yet, but I'm so excited to check it out.
It's supposed to be hilarious, which I'm really excited about. I love any comedies. That's always the best. It always pulls you in, you know?
And the trailer looks so good. Like, I've watched it a bunch of times. My friends have all checked it out. They love it too.
Lots of great cast members as well.
Yeah, and Beth Bears from Two Broke Girls, who, I mean, just can do no wrong. So funny. She's in it. Artie Lang, Kathy Lee Gifford, Christopher Lloyd. I mean, it just goes on and on. So
and of course, Maria Menounos, who founded AfterBuzz TV. So that's why we got to watch and support.
Yeah, absolutely. It's 100% amazing. And it's going to be opening in select cities on March 8th. So if you're in New York, Los Angeles, Boston, Chicago, my hometown, San Francisco, go check it out. You can get your tickets now. You can also pre-order the movie and see how to get your tickets at serialbuddies.com. So definitely do that.
Check it out if you want a good laugh.
And you can follow the movie on Twitter, of course, at serial_buddies.
Yay.
Woohoo! I'm so excited for
Me too. Love it. So news and gossip time?
I think it is news and gossip time.
TV news.
So a little more information on Lucy Hale's, I'm so excited for this, her country record.
Yeah, me
too. She
too.
Has been talking about it, and she says it's going to be coming out this summer with a single in the next couple months. And she says there'll be a few mainstream songs, but it's mostly a straight-up country record.
Which is my favorite kind of music.
I mean, you are the country expert here, so it's good. And she says that she thinks it'll surprise people too. I don't know how. I'm interested to see what she means by that.
Well, I think it'll be a surprise just because we've seen her as Aria on Pretty Little Liars. You know, we haven't seen that other side of her, so it'll be really cool to see the musical component come in.
Yeah, I know she's been staying a lot in Nashville working on it, so she's definitely getting those southern, you know.
Well, which is where she's from. She's from Tennessee,
right?
So she's got that already, so it'll be great to see it come out on her album.
Exactly. And then we also have a little interview with Lindsay Shaw, who, of course, plays Paige on Pretty Little Liars. She is talking about how it's such a fun set to be on, and that they kind of all are, it's like the cool club. It feels like the cool club to be on the Pretty Little Liars set. And she thinks her character is kind of in a transition from being the most like crazy one in Rosewood all the way over to being kind of the calm, collected, sane person is what she says in Rosewood.
Well, that'll be good to see.
I know. It'll be a switch up for sure. And she says Ashley Benson is the prankster on set, which I just thought was really cute.
How fun. Because, I mean, people are kind of the same age, so I'm sure it's a great time to, you go to wake up, go to work with all your friends every day. That must be fun.
Yeah, I would think so, too. And I know, like, we've talked to people from Gossip Girl and things like that, and they're always saying that, too. Like, I think those young casts, they really do bond together.
Yeah, and by season 3, I mean, you definitely know a lot about each other.
Exactly. And unfortunately, I know a lot of Pretty Little Liars fans were looking forward to a holiday Pretty Little Liars. They always do the Halloween episode, but the show creator has said that there won't be a Christmas special for season 4, but that she would definitely consider doing one for season 5. So something to look forward to in the distant future, but not so much for next year for the holidays. But hopefully other ABC family shows will do one. They're always fun. They get you in the holiday spirit. So definitely good. Ready for some predictions?
Yes.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV prediction.
My favorite part.
I know, so hard to. This show is so hard to.
And
predict.
I already forgot the one that I was starting to talk about. And I was like, I better save it.
Yeah.
I know the one that I think for sure is that CeCe and Jason are working together. She's in her car lying about it being towed. Jason gets out of the hospital bed and is not nearly as hurt as you could expect after falling story after story down an elevator. Something's weird.
I don't want to believe it, but I agree with you.
I definitely think it. I've never fully trusted Jason, and I've never trusted CeCe ever since she came on the scene and knew way too much about these girls. So, you know, what was CeCe doing if her car was supposed to be being towed and she was obviously lying? And what's Jason doing if he, like, it literally looked like it was planned, like Emily Jump, and then he falls to make it look like it's not really him in on this, that someone's trying to hurt Jason, but
yeah, I agree.
I don't trust it.
Yeah, and I just don't think he was injured. That's the bottom line of it, because how could you? If you were legitimately injured, you couldn't get up.
I mean, I don't think most people live from that kind of accident, so it was somewhat planned.
Definitely, and I'm going to go with an Aria Ezra prediction. You know how much I love them.
Your favorite, yeah.
Yeah, I love them as a couple, but they, I think they're in for, well, they're obviously in a rough patch now, but I think Wes and Aria, there's something there. As much as she pushed him away, I don't think that's a closed chapter.
I don't either. But I must say that I don't think if something happened with Aria and Ezra, that Aria and West would end up together.
No, I don't think so. I think it's going to either cause Aria to realize that Ezra is not the right person for her, and that she walks away and she needs a high school life, and that it's too difficult to be with him, or that it's going to push her back to him by kind of seeing Wes and being like, okay, I can manage it because my true love is Ezra.
True, there's so much. I mean, there's just so much on this show, and I love it every week. It always gets better and better.
So true. Well, thank you so much for hanging out with us, and you can tweet us all your theories, thoughts, comments, all of that to AfterBuzz TV or to me at Stephanie Wenger.
I'm at Whitney Lane 1118 on Twitter and Whitney-Lane.com on my website.
Love it. All right, thank you again.
We'll see y'all next week.
Woo-hoo. Back with Kelly, too.
From Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.